Welcome to the Enterprise Excellence Podcast, where our purpose is to help create a better future. Learn from our world's experts how to improve your organisation sustainably. Learn how to achieve and sustain an excellence journey for yourself, others, and the planet.
I'm your host, Brad Jevons, coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome to episode 25 of the Enterprise Excellence Podcast. I'm so pleased to have on the show today Kristan De Sousa. Kristan's passion is partnering with business through major transformation and change. Kristan has dedicated her career to human resources, helping organisations obtain and retain talented employees. Kristan has developed approaches to building networks to achieve excellence in this area. We could say that the world runs by networks now, as it always has. Let's get into the episode. Kristan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Brad.
Kristan, what's your backstory? What significant moments shaped you and brought you into this field of, talent management and also the power of networking?
I think if I reflect, I was a country girl. I grew up in Toowoomba, probably a little bit naive to the world, but it's a bit cliche to say, my parents very much shaped my desire to work in this field. My dad, both very hardworking, middle class. My dad was always doing a contra deal with someone, whether it be to build our fence or to get meat from the butcher or get a good deal on a car. He was quite good in relation to that. So my first experience in relation to networking was that, watching my dad and what he could do through the power of others. And then, on the other side, my mum was, a typical, 1980s mum. And, she sacrificed everything to make sure her girls and husband, had a good life. I don't think I ever saw her spend $1, discretionary to new clothes or whatever. So she just had this huge caring nature of wanting to help others. And I think so hopefully I got the best of both of them, and my dad's ability to build a network to try and drive outcomes, and my mum's caring nature to help others, and I think a natural fit was then to land in recruitment, human resources, where the power of a network can really help both power organizations as well as people's lives, considering 80% of your life a lot of the time, or pre-COVID anyway, but was spent in the office with people.
Well, so Kristan, your father taught you the power of being connected and networking, but then you had this strong, purposeful drive from your mother. Where did that start to come together for you in your career? So you've gone out into that area of human resources and recruitment. Where did it all come together for you, and how did that evolve?
Yeah, I remember my first role, because I moved when I was only 17 from Toowoomba to Brisbane. I knew I wanted to get to a bigger city. So I, packed my bags, and mum and dad supported me to come to go to university in Brisbane. And I guess the question was always, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I must say I still didn't know when I left uni. But I took on a first job, and I was selling phone systems. And I knew that, I enjoyed that sort of commercial side, getting in and understanding a business, but I found, selling a product extremely boring. And so I knew I always wanted to work with people. And so I actually sought out a career in that, because, naturally, when I did my research to go, right, what gives me the best of both worlds? That was where I landed. And from the first day I started, I knew it was where I belonged.
Kristan, and how did it evolve from there? It can be a tough industry, and I know you found ways to create it and make it really purposeful and high value add. How did it evolve through for you to get to that place?
Yeah, I think the first part of working within the industry is you have to have a passion for people. You have to have a passion for curiosity and learning and supporting others. And that was without a doubt something, that I knew existed. So in terms of how it evolved was, purely getting out in market, doing well, thriving off doing well, and finding something that I was actually quite good at, and then finding the right home at 6 Degrees in terms of, caring people around me, like-minded people with similar values, a customer base that had similar values. Like, all of the pieces just fell together. And I guess that's when then my career really launched, was finding my home at 6 Degrees, and and having those people like Paul Hallam and Susie McInerney and so forth, people that really believe in you, supporting you along the way.
Well, so in 6 Degrees, you found a culture that really aligned with your culture.
Absolutely.
Did it link back to what you mentioned about your father and your mother, that care for people and that drive and networking side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the business as a whole, and, in particular, people like Susie and Paul, the curiosity in life is outstanding. It's not about just helping someone find, a career or helping an organization fix a problem. It's actually getting to know individuals, like who the person is, like what makes them tick as an individual, as a group, as a community, and then really trying to support in that sense. So, yeah.
Oh, and Kristan, through your time, how did it come about that you saw the power of networking and why networking is so important?
I think I've always understood the power of networking, Brad, because it was so ingrained watching my dad through his life. And then when I, again, was exposed to people that built a quality network, it's not just about how many people you know, it's about how many people, and when I say no, phone number, acquaintances, but it's actually like genuinely how many people that if you pick up the phone, they want to speak to you because they know that you'll add value to them, or that they want to help you because possibly you've added value. But definitely year on year, the greater my network grew, the more it dawns on me. It still dawns on me, now, Brad, and I learn a little bit more around how to build a quality network and what works and what doesn't. But the power of, people around you, because nothing happens in the world really by a single person. It's always by a group of people. And that can't happen without a network.
Mm. And Kristan, what are the key steps, would you say, to going about forming a network and developing that?
Two key things that I always say to, people that, executives that we're dealing with or people in my team, is the first one is it has to be about, the long game. If you go out to market in whatever field you're in, or as an individual trying to find friends or whatever it may be, and you're only focused about what you want, then you will fail. So the number one thing has to be, it's about a long-term network, not a short-term network. So that would be the first piece of advice. And the other is, it's hard work. It's sometimes, pushing yourself to do things that you might not feel like doing in that moment, but knowing that that's what you need to do to make sure you're holding up your end of the deal in relation to a network.
Kristan, on that, so you're saying it's two things. It's one, thinking the long term and being abundant about it, I'm guessing. And then the second part is putting in the effort to that network. Why is it important that you think the long game? What happens on the reverse when you're looking to build a network if you rush it?
Well, I think you end up, Brad, having to continually rebuild a network, and it comes back to, I use this word, a quality network. So, LinkedIn's a great example. The amount of people that might have thousands of connections on LinkedIn, but I'll ask someone, oh, you know, Sally, and they'll go, who? And I'm like, oh, Sally, you're connected with them on LinkedIn. Oh, no idea who that is. That is a superficial network ultimately. But so what happens if you do that in life? Let's put LinkedIn aside. And, you're just out trying to connect with people briefly. You probably won't remember them. They probably won't remember you, and then therefore when it's time that you need to bring a network together to drive an outcome, you don't actually know who to call. So it just becomes a constant event of you starting to rebuild again.
What advice would you give someone around that, Kristan, who's going, okay, I want to build a quality network and I want to think about the long game? What are some techniques and thoughts they can have going into that when they're looking to connect with someone?
Yeah. One of the things I try to think of it as myself, it's a bit like mindfulness. if we use a word that's so important these days, in particular in relation to mental health, is, you have to constantly remind yourself that it's not just about you. And so therefore, how can you be curious about others? And if you enter into every conversation you have with a bit of curiosity and a focus on understanding what someone else might need, then that would be the golden tip in terms of, ensuring that you will build a quality network over time. And it takes time, Brad. You don't build a network overnight. And every person you meet won't always be successful as becoming part of your network. That's just life.
I love that. That's very short and sharp. Be curious about others.
Yes.
Not yourself.
Yeah. Which we all, can have a tendency to do at times.
Yeah, but it's so true. And that makes it a longer game, but it makes it a more quality game of building your network. Because if we go to the other second topic you had of it's hard work, what is that hard work? What would you say that is key to then building that network in relation to fostering it, growing it, making it high quality over time? What are some key elements you'd say make up that hard work?
Yeah. Well, I think, it's hard work in terms of what I just mentioned before. Not everyone that you meet in life is going to become part of your network. So it's a bit like if you're single, Brad, and I know it's been a while since you've been single, but, you might go out on 10 dates, or I think these days the numbers are probably more like hundreds of dates before you find your person. And, your network is about building out, a diverse group, at finding your people that align. It's more values aligned than, same race or gender or age group or, whatever that may be. So I think the hard work comes with, the amount of people that you interact with to really, and I'm talking, it's my craft, right? It's what I do for a living. So, people obviously don't need the size of network that I've built over 15 years to, have a good life or to feel like they've been successful in relation to that. But definitely in terms of the volume of people and a lot of activity that might sometimes not turn into benefiting or creating that network. I think the other thing is it's hard work to constantly think about others, so it's that aspect. And, I think too, mindfulness is hard work unless you practice it all the time. So I think it's just that constant practicing in market, if that's what you want to achieve. If what you will want to achieve is a quality, sustainable, long-term network, then it takes work.
Well, so there's two key parts, which is be curious about others and put in the effort to, creating and sustaining that network that you've got. Kristan, what stops people being more curious and putting effort into building connections and networks and sustaining them?
Look, I could probably only speak from personal experience, Brad, and don't get me wrong, this is something that is not, it doesn't necessarily come easy all the time. So I think, when I was younger, one of the things that stopped me from being curious was fear, fear of if I'm curious of them and then they become curious of me, am I interesting enough? What value have I got to give? All of the, the self-doubt. Will someone reject me? Will I ask a stupid question? So fear, I think, is one of the biggest inhibitors. I think the other aspect, Brad, is just time. Everyone, I think, as the world evolves, and personally, I think COVID's been amazing in one aspect, and that is just it's given us back some time and hopefully some perspective. However, everyone is so busy. And so finding the time to actually be mindful enough to think about it, when someone might reach out to you at that point in time, or you might, need to build an app or help a friend or whatever it may be. It's just time as well.
Yeah. Kristan, I grew up in the country also, and I know there's two sides to the country. There's one side that everyone you meet, you're always going to go, isn't it a lovely day? Or hasn't the weather been terrible? You start talking, or how's the family? There's that care for the other person. But there's also potentially a shyness that can come from it. How was your experience in growing up in the country with those two things?
Yeah, I think spot on, Brad. Everyone is so friendly. However, I think as well, like, it's the big smoke, the big city, what happens outside of your small country town, all of this terminology that gets thrown at you. And as I said in the beginning, it's the naivety, it's the you don't know what you don't know. And luckily, growing up in the country, we were protected from a lot. I think you would probably agree. That naivety can serve you really well in life. But also as you get exposed into the corporate world or, bigger cities, it absolutely creates a shyness because it can be very overwhelming and there's lots of things you haven't experienced.
Yeah. Kristan, can you remember how you went about overcoming that? Like, you're an extremely professional, very good networker nowadays. You've got a great network. Can you remember how you originally overcame maybe some of that original shyness and feelings to really start going down this path?
Absolutely. And I can tell you the exact moment, Brad. I'd started at 6 Degrees. I was working in, recruitment. I was 25 or 26. Thought I knew a lot more than I did, and we were at an event and I met a particular lady from an organisation called Treasury Wine. And then about 12 months later, I met her again and I'd said, hi, I met you at, this event. And she was like, no recollection whatsoever. She ended up becoming my coach. And she had said to me, your confidence is the first thing we need to work on. When you walk into a room in the right way, you need to hold yourself and communicate in a way that people will remember you. And it was from then that she worked with me over a number of years that, I helped overcome. So I think the message in relation to that, if I was to give anyone advice, is seek help, get a mentor, get a coach, and practice as well, because it doesn't just change overnight. I still get shy when I walk into rooms sometimes.
Yeah. Where are some of the best forums that you think people can practice, Kristan? What would you say is the best place to put yourself out there and practice if you did have a mentor and you're looking to really improve your networking capability?
Anywhere, Brad. And I know that sounds a bit broad, but at your friend's barbecue, everyone goes. It's a bit like a wedding. Everyone sits on the same table. Get up, walk to a table, make it a mandate that every time you go to a party, a function, meet one person you don't know, because it's sitting on a plane next to someone. Some people will want to talk to you, some people won't. So you've got to use your EQ there. Try and strike up a bit of a conversation. If people shut you down, fine, don't be annoying. But, everywhere, Brad, is there are people that you don't know and you don't know what you don't know. Some of the most interesting people I've met have been so random, and it's just been because, you've had the courage to ask a question or say hi, Yeah. And if you are curious about someone else, they will likely talk to you. So if you walk up to someone at a barbecue, I see you here, I'm going to use Sally again. It's going to be my name I use today, Brad. I see, Sally, what do you do? Or, kids, or where did you grow up? Or, whatever questions might come into play. But one person, wherever you go, challenge yourself.
I can relate to that, Kristan. And some of our listeners may cringe with me saying this, but I've always had a mandate that when I sit on a plane, I'm at least going to say hello and acknowledge and ask a question about each person in the 3 seats that I'm in, the 2 people either beside me or across. And it's amazing the conversations I've had, but also the network that I've built through that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting where you meet people that you just don't even expect that you would meet in particular places. Grocery line, out at dinner, the table sitting next to you. Again, I'm not recommending that everywhere you go, you try and talk to the person next to you, but it's pretty remarkable how your world will open up if you could do 12 of those a year. and one of those people, then became someone that you knew and, that you helped each other or supported each other through life, how much better would your life be?
It's amazing, isn't it, Kristan? Like we live in this world now with social media where you can connect to so many people. But when I reflect, the ones that I'm connected with and do business with and link with so much are the ones that I've got a deeper relationship with. At some stage, it's gone further than just a connection on LinkedIn or something through Facebook or Instagram or whatever it might be. What is it that makes you think that's so important? Why is it so important that your network goes a bit deeper than just a social media connection?
Yeah. If I think back to, the 90s when I was growing up with my dad and watching him do what he used to do, there was only a phone, a fax machine. I think emails were out then, but there was no, not in his generation, right? There was no Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think there's an amazing digital plays an amazing part in, driving convenience in our world and access to information, but it also has overwhelmed, that network piece. So I can easily connect, and that word connect, like what does connect mean? Like your friends on Facebook, yet, you find out about someone getting engaged through Facebook. Like they're probably not your really great friends or connections. So I think it's the overwhelming world that is out there in relation to LinkedIn, Facebook, that then makes that deeper connection to go, well, I'm already time poor. So who am I really going to help when they need it? And they're likely going to be the people that A, I understand how I can help them, and B, I understand who they are, and I want to sacrifice my time, which is pretty precious, to then go and actually contribute to their life. So I think that's why, and also the understanding now of, people, the mindfulness, the feel good, it's now you realize helping others makes you feel good. So I guess it's almost selfish when you help others to some degree because you're getting something out of it. It releases chemicals when you smile at someone, when you laugh with someone, all of these aspects build on why now, where you're really going to draw the most from your network is from the deeper connections.
Yeah, too true. Kristan, with your background in talent management and the work you're now doing in networking, what are you focused on for the future? Where are things going for you now?
Yeah, again, I ask myself every year, what do I want to do when I grow up? I love the industry that I'm in. I love what I do. I love the people I get to work with, not just inside, an organization, but, the entire network and all aspects of it. So I don't foresee myself necessarily moving too far away from it. I definitely want to do more to help. In particular, this year has been really profound. The recruitment industry as a whole is exposed very closely. Job market and all of that. So seeing people in general struggle through this year. First of all, realizing how lucky a lot of people are, but the impact on mental health this year. So we've really, to talk about network, we've done a pretty remarkable thing this year in bringing 5 people together to build, a platform that we'll be launching next year called Mind Over, really focused on mind over matter to help give access to people on all of the key ingredients that help improve mental health in little bite-sized, convenient aspects. So, it might go nowhere, Brad, but hopefully even if we can, help, 1,000 people, that'll be success. So there'll be an aspect of continuing to try and drive supporting and helping people in a slightly different way. Obviously, continuing to help organizations and people in terms of talent and career will definitely be part of my future, but definitely wanting to expand that or focusing on expanding that into really helping improve people's quality of life as well in a really achievable way, not in a super complex way.
Yeah. So in your industry, you're seeing a lot of people who are sort of suffering and concerned about the future. And so you're building this new approach to enable people to help with mindfulness and help them, with mental health and to get through this time.
Absolutely. And to connect on the topic, to form a deeper connection via digital, but not just friend and posting pictures, but how you connect and then actually do activities with other people in relation to that. Because there's a lot of people isolated at the moment. There's a lot of people that might be in a friendship group and, they've all still got jobs, but one person doesn't. And then, how do you then build this network that people can have access to help keep their life on track or to help improve the quality of their life.
Well, so you're taking the best of digital technology-based platform, but bringing in the other humanistic elements that we've spoken about so far.
Yeah. We're going to try. Can't say I've done it yet, Brad.
Well, I haven't seen anyone do it yet. So if you can do it, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would. I think it would be one of the things I'd be most proud of if we can try and even get it, 70% there. That'd be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Kristan, how can people keep track of that? How would you say if people have gone, right, okay, yep, want to build my network, I'm concerned about my position, I want to work more on mental health. How can they keep track and stay connected with you and the team through this time leading up to development and launch?
Yeah, I think, maybe what we could commit to you, Brad, is coming back to you when we do launch. We're in very basic MVP right now, about to go live with our network at the moment, like our friends, family, deeper connections, and trial it and make sure it's good. And launch will be January. So I think if we commit to keeping you up to date with the launch, and then you can share it with your listeners if at an appropriate time. Albeit by the way, none of today was meant to, LinkedIn is an amazing tool, and particularly when you are trying to find talent. So it's not to say LinkedIn isn't a great networking tool. It is. It's just probably the first part of it. But you can, keep track on and connect with me on LinkedIn, because I will update over the course of the next 3 to 6 months in relation to it there as well. Would
That's
be
great.
my suggestion.
Thanks, Kristan. We'll release the note to the audience once it's out. That'd be great. Especially in this time, it's certainly going to be a powerful platform. Kristan, on a final note, what is something that you've learnt recently that you didn't know before? What's a recent insight you've had?
So again, you have these moments in life where you think you know, and then you realize how much you don't know. And I had one of those moments last year. And there was a gentleman by the name of John Burgess, who I met with, and he has spent the last 20 years investing in understanding advocacy better. So we talk about networking and deep networks, but true advocacy is, I guess, that next level where, you people, let's call them people within your network, thinking about you, but might not have seen you for 12 months. And so that only comes with perfecting that art of really focusing on how you can help others. When you help others without anything in it for yourself, you naturally create advocates. When they know that, Kristan or John or Brad, added value to me, to my life, and they got nothing out of it, they are going to go out and talk about you endless. An advocate is someone who talks about you out in market, and you might not have heard from them for 12 or 18 months. So it was a really profound moment to go, wow, there's a next layer. Like, you sort of start to do something and you do it for long enough, you think you're doing it really well. And in actual fact, I realized there's another layer, which is exciting, because then it's more growth and, something else that you can strive for and achieve. And so it's a bit like Mind Over, and where it came from is we're really trying now to how we go and create advocates through giving back to the community and to our network.
That's That's powerful. It's certainly going to help create a better future, Kristan. If we can all work to be curious about others, work hard at our network, but look to help others in an abundant way, everyone wins in the long run, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, spot on.
We'll create in the world a lot more of what you and I were used to growing up in Toowoomba and Glasshouse, respectively.
Yeah, it was a great childhood, I must say. If I could talk to my younger self, I would say, don't be so eager to leave.
Yeah, same. When times get tough and there's a lot of pressure on, I still remember back on the farm with listening to music and planting plants.
Yeah. Riding horses and building, cubby houses out of sticks and leaves. It was a great childhood.
Yeah, it was. Well, Kristan, thank you so much for everything you're doing and everything you're going to continue to do going forward to help us create a better future. I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Brad. You too.
Humans have grown thanks to connecting with others biologically and socially across eternity of the life on the planet. Let's do more than social media connection and go deeper and connect with people we don't know and build a better life. My key takeaways from this episode are: care about others, work hard for your network, and find a coach or mentor if needed. Caring for others is a mindset that forces us out of our bubble. This allows us to connect with others more effectively. Being curious about another person, entering a conversation positively by asking questions about the other person, listening and responding to their needs and showing how you can help them. Real connection comes when they respond, and we can paraphrase what we heard them say and understand they felt, showing we are listening and care. Working hard for your network means structuring your time effectively, ensuring you have set aside time to communicate with others, make a phone call or set a meeting, taking a moment when someone does connect spontaneously and striking up a conversation with them. Look at the value you can bring to someone, whether listening, sharing knowledge, or a laugh. Take an abundant approach and be present. The final takeaway for me was to find a coach or mentor to help you develop your confidence with networking if this is an area you're looking to improve. Kristan mentioned the mentor who helped her develop networking skills early on in her career. A mentor or coach can help us bridge the knowing-doing gap. It is one thing to know something, listen to a podcast, read a book, or watch a video. It is another to put it into practice and develop new habits and skills. A good coach or mentor is like a personal trainer for fitness. They help keep you focused on your goal, take small steps towards it, and get through the tough times without giving up. Thanks again, Kristan, for your knowledge. Bye for now.